Hi, and welcome to today's devotional. First, I want to apologize for the lateness of this. Linda and I got involved in a couple things and got put off, and she's dealing with something with her daughter right now. So you got just me this evening, or probably tomorrow, as most of you will do this thing. How it's already 10:15. I'm going to get a little philosophical on you tonight. Linda and I went out visiting, and we talked to some folks, and we kind of got on the discussion of does God micromanage our daily lives? Does He have a rigid plan that we have to follow? Is there predestiny? Different things like this. And we got to talking about providence and the providence of God. And so I wanted to explore just a little bit of how much of our lives God actually takes an active part in planning and setting out. I started off with the story of when I was a mechanic back up in Huntsville before I came down here. And I was out test driving a car and it broke down or something. I don't really remember, but I was thumbing a ride back to the shop and this guy picked me up. And he told me that normally he goes by there a half hour earlier, but something happened and he got delayed. And he said, God did that just so he would be late, so he could pick me up and take me on up there. So that raises the question, did God make a active intercession on my behalf, or did things just happen? And when good people are out there and they see a situation and react to it in a Christian manner. So I want to look at Deuteronomy 30:15 through 20, and we'll go into this just a little bit more. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil, in that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways, and keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgment, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in thy land, whither thou goest in, possess it. But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away, and worship other gods, and serve them, I will denounce you until this day, that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon this land, whether thou passest over Jordan, and go to possess it. I will call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life and thy length of thy days, and that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. So, God has given us a choice as to whether we should love him and follow his ways, or to turn against him and worship other things. And He said he will bless the day that you choose to love him, and he will curse the day that you choose to turn away and worship other gods. This, I believe, is telling us that we have free will. We are not predetermined. We are not preordained. We are not predestined. We're not one of these uber Calvinistic people who believe God has already picked out who will believe and who won't. We have that choice. God has given us that choice. So that begs the question: if God gives us a choice, does He? Did He make something happen to make that guy late so he could pick me up? Or did something just happen? And so he happened along and saw me. Maybe he made me go out at a particular time. These are hard things to understand because while I don't believe we're in predestiny, I do believe God does act. He does intercede on our behalf when we pray to Him. And although He knows the choices we're going to make, He does not force those choices upon us. He gives us the right to make the choice. So if we don't pray for an intercession, will God intercede for us anyway, just because He thinks we needed to? And I think that's a very open question, and that, of course, He can. He is all-powerful, and I think He does at times. And then at times He lets nature take its course. I'm not really sure of the answers of all that, but one thing I am sure of: God does answer our prayers, and we may not recognize the answer He's giving us, and we have to keep our eyes open, and we have to watch for His answer to our prayers, and be ready that His answer is in a form that we never fathomed, that He thought about something very, very different than what we thought about. So let's keep this in mind as we pray and we go about our days, that God is in control, and He does love us, and He will help us, and we need to just accept His love and look for the answers. Be prayerful about the answers, and accept God's providence and accept God's decision, and just love Him and try to live your life to reflect His love so that others may see that you are truly Christian. So I give this to you to think about and talk amongst yourselves about, and I will say good night.